Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Now there was a very awesome interview conducted by Flats and Emong. There are links to their videos in the description of this video, to their Twitch channel, to the VOD, so you guys can go and check that out. And honestly, go and check it out. It's a pretty long VOD, but go and check it out because it's a really cool interview. It's always awesome to get sort of behind the scenes info from lead developers. So what we're going to cover in this video is a bunch of topics, but I think the first place to start is with the potential Wrecking Ball rework, because that is huge news. What I'm going to do is put a transcript on the screen here from Son of Gary over on Reddit. Good job on this. It's awesome stuff. And we're going to go through this, and then we're just going to have a quick discussion about this, and then we're going to move forward to see what some of the other talking points were in that video. But like I said, do go and check the video out. There is a lot of information in it. I just want to kind of condense down some of the stuff in this video because I think it's worth discussing. So Kenny first says this: we're in the process of evaluating what we want to do with Wrecking Ball. We're kind of in that initial prototyping phase where if we were to do a full rework, what would it look like? No promises or anything like that. Could be a rework, could be an upgrade, but we're definitely taking a look at Wrecking Ball right now. And then Alec Dawson comes in and says this: yeah, there are a number of heroes where we're trying to figure out the next, like this month and the start of next year, where it's going to be, okay, what's our plan for 2024 for these heroes in terms of bigger changes? Does anything need to be reworked? Does anything need some sort of adjustment? And there is this short list of heroes, and Wrecking Ball is near the top of that. And some of the things we want to look at, I think, will sort of look at him in a way similar, in a similar way where it can be, hey, a lot of players have a hard time playing with Wrecking Ball on their team, so we're just trying to establish what sort of goals we're really trying to achieve there. I think we don't want to take away how special Wrecking Ball is. He is probably the most unique hero we have in the game. The mobility and being able to master that and everything is just something you don't find anywhere else. It's a skill players have really learned over time, but how can we make it so he fits a little bit better in 5v5? How can we make it so that players feel that they're just a little bit happier having Wrecking Ball on their team when they get matched up with a random and they're not necessarily playing in a 5-stack or something? I think that can be really difficult to understand what you're even supposed to do for plenty of our player base. So yeah, once again, thank you for the transcript, Son of Gary. Good stuff. But yeah, so this Wrecking Ball rework, I think this is exactly what we want to hear, really. Like, they want to preserve the playstyle of the hero, but maybe make him a bit more effective when it comes to 5v5. And honestly, I think that's all they need to say at this point. They've also said, you know, this is early days. They don't have a set path for the hero right now. But I do think it is good news they want to keep the uniqueness of the hero, because a very, very long time ago, I was told by Blizzard, I mean, it was a completely different Blizzard and a different Overwatch team back then, but they did say that Wrecking Ball was essentially the upper limit of how crazy they would go with new heroes in the game, and nothing would breach that. So I've always found it quite interesting. Will they breach that at some point? Maybe they will, because maybe Wrecking Ball in the future won't be seen as a crazy hero, but he is at the moment. So I think this is good news. So yeah, a potential rework, a potential upgrade, but they're definitely looking at Roadhog. Not Roadhog, sorry. Wrecking Ball, and Wrecking Ball is definitely at their top of lists of heroes that do need an adjustment. So good news. So what other bits and pieces did they actually speak about in this interview? Well, also, let's go back to Reddit. So good job, Miskana21. This, again, is a great breakdown of the major topics they speak about. But like I said, guys, I'm going to keep saying, do go and check the video out, because watching the whole thing, you get like sort of, you know, the inflections of the developers, and you get to sort of see, you know, how they speak and all of that stuff. So it is worth it. But as I said, I just wanted to put like a bit of a, I want to use the word concise, but I know I do like to ramble, but like, you know, just get these things together and put them out there. So yeah, this is what Alex said. Alec Dawson mentioned during the dev stream with Emong and Flats that burst, healing, and damage are the top priority with the competitive refresh coming next season. Now, this is good news, because if you guys watched a recent video of me where I was talking about power creep, burst healing is a major component of that, and damage as well, because damage keeps getting added, and burst healing is essentially added to try and counter that. There is also an elephant in the room here, which isn't really covered, and that is crowd control. There has been a lot of crowd control power creep in the game since Overwatch 2 came out. You know, if you guys remember, essentially, Overwatch 2 was meant to be a reduction of crowd control, but we've looked at a number of things being added into the game, you know. And now we even look at the latest hero, and he has a crowd control immunity. So, you know, and look at Cassidy with his hindered effect. That was a new crowd control. Look at May with a slow effect. You know, we can just keep going on and on with all these things. So There is power creep with crowd control coming into the game. But again, it's good news that they want to look at reducing burst healing and burst damage, or just damage, I guess, as he says. Because these are things, if you lower them, we can get back to a more sort of stable game, I guess, instead of everyone either just getting one-shotted or never dying, which is basically what happens. We're also looking at the DPS passive. They may change that. Again, this is interesting. This has been changed a few times, if you guys remember. It used to be a speed increase on an elimination, I believe, and then it got turned into a reload on elimination, which it currently is at the moment. They're also potentially looking at Cassidy as well. So this, again, is good news. They're not happy with his kit at the moment. And I think Cassidy's just a bit boring. That's the problem with Cassidy. He's an old Overwatch hero. He's got he's got his gun, and that's what Cassidy is built around. And I think they really struggle to give him any additional identity behind that, or on top of that, I guess. When you look at the flashbang becoming the grenade, and then becoming this sort of grenade with a bit of flashbang, but not really, because it just hinders you. It's weird. It's like, okay, and his roll. I mean, remember, his roll was recently buffed, where if he's got a pulse bomb on him and he rolls, he won't die to the pulse bomb. You know, he's got a big damage reduction on it, but it's not really very fun, is it? So this is all interesting stuff. I imagine what provokes this is they look at the stats for the heroes that are getting played, and Cassidy's probably not being played a lot. I don't see many Cassidy in the games I play. That's not really a massive sample size, but yeah, I see a lot of Sojourn though. They also said that the team is happy with Bastion at the moment, but they think he's perceived a bit stronger than he actually is. So that's interesting, really, because I think there's two ways of looking at Bastion. You can look at Bastion as if you run into Bastion, he's going to kill you. And then you can also look at it, well, just play around the Bastion, and then he's not going to be that effective. But that's easier said than done, really. I think when you look at Bastion in assault mode, you know he's going. That's the phase of, we've got to use defensive cooldowns. We've got to get out of line of sight. We've got to do something to not get killed by the Bastion. But when he's not in that mode, he's not really very deadly. So it's not like he's deadly all the time. You can play around it. But as I said, it's a lot easier said than done. That is because Bastion just suddenly, dropping into assault mode at a great time when you're maybe a bit overextended or something, he can just power you down, especially if you're the tank. And again, this is another issue. It doesn't feel great as a tank playing into Bastion because you are sort of forced onto certain heroes, either your Sigma or your Orisa, to try and deal with it because you've got active damage reduction, or you can maybe interrupt him with Spear or something. Whereas a tank like Reinhardt, you just have to run away, and that's not really very fun, is it, running away? There's also a couple of additional points as well. So Sombra, they're happy with the rework because they're seeing players that didn't play Sombra before are actually playing her now and sticking with the hero. I think that's good. And this is actually what I thought was happening with this. So I think a lot of the players that played Sombra in the past maybe are not happy with this Sombra because it does play a bit different. But, and I think I've even said this in videos, some idiot like me would now play Sombra, whereas in the past I wouldn't because it was such an alien playstyle, but now it isn't. So yeah, pros and cons there. Sombra, but anyway, I'm not a fan of a massive EMP buff that she's just got in this patch, but whatever. There's a bit of news on Roadhog here. So they say that Roadhog is currently a top 3 tank overall, but they're waiting to see how he performs with Mauga. Now, it must be said, Aaron did actually allude to this in the dev update for Season 8 Balance, where he said, I think he's got a 54% win rate, which is pretty damn good. I mean, that's really high. And they're waiting to see if Mauga can bring that down. And just how that works. So it's a bit less reactionary on that, but they are looking to maybe bring Roadhog down in power levels a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So if you are getting terrorized by Roadhog, it's very likely that they probably will nerf him at some point. And then there's one final note on Genji, where they say that internally they're testing things for his ultimate around breakpoints and how it interacts with Nano. This might be, when Genji gets nanoed, it's more effective than a normal nano, potentially. Because Genji is a bit limp at the moment. He doesn't really have much impact. But, honestly, if you're a good Genji player, you can still find areas to get value. But again, in this perfect world, which literally doesn't exist, of 5 players of equal skill on both teams against each other, if one picks a Genji and one picks a Sojourn, well, the Sojourn is going to be more effective. Or even just pick some Mei into the Genji or something. They're just more effective. And that is a bit of an issue with Overwatch. I'm not saying it's a total hard counter. What I'm saying is it is a soft counter, but it's a very it's very advantageous, yeah. And that's the issue. But again, that's in this world of everyone being equal skill, which literally doesn't exist. But this is good news for Genji because Genji has not. Genji's kind of been like one of the weakest DPS heroes since Overwatch 2 came out, and I think a lot of people they want to see the Genji from the 0 Hour cinematic where he chops the hand off the Titan, because he's not doing that, is he, in the game? No, he isn't. Okay, everybody, thank you for listening and watching the video. Like I said, that's just a recap of some of the points from this interview. Do go and check it out. Both Emong and Flats did it on their stream. Obviously, very good tank players, so you want these guys talking about tank changes and new tank heroes and stuff. But it was interesting to see the devs were willing to talk about other stuff as well. You know, interesting bits on Sombra, interesting bits on Genji as well, and Cassidy, and then obviously on Wrecking Ball. But, you know, he is a tank. Okay, thank you guys. And yeah, I've been Stylosa, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.